Welcome to the Diary of Discovery, the podcast where we delve deep into the human experience of healing and transformation. I'm your host, Jacky Clarke, and each week we will sit down with inspiring individuals who have embarked on their own personal journeys of healing and self-discovery. From overcoming trauma to navigating life's challenges, our guests share their raw and honest stories, offering insights, wisdom, and hope to all who tune in. So grab your favorite cup of tea, find a cozy spot, and join us as we uncover the power of resilience, courage, and the pursuit of authenticity. This is the Diary of Discovery. Oh my gosh, I am so excited to have you here. Welcome to the Diary of Discovery, a brand new podcast that is literally a piece of art in my world. I have wanted to create this podcast for so long. I cannot even tell you how excited I am. If you have no idea who I am, my name is Jacky, and I am so glad that you have found the podcast and that you are going to come and join us on this healing journey. I have got my own story of healing, of depression, of grief, of redundancy, of so many things that felt so hard to move through, and so many years of squishing and like trapping all of these emotions inside me, feeling like I would never be able to deal with them. And actually, if I just didn't look at them, everything would be fine. And the real reason that I wanted to start this podcast is because I wanted to share with so many people, like as many people as we possibly can in the whole world, that that is not what the healing journey is about. That we can't just push things down and hope for the best and wait it out. It's just not how it works. So my whole mission as we go through this incredible journey is to find the most amazing guests to come on and share their own personal healing journeys with you. And it's going to be interview style. I'm going to be asking them questions, getting them to share what their journey was like, how they coped and dealt, and the tools that they use, and just the truth about what it really takes to heal, because there are so many falsities out in the world, so many stories as to what it could take and what you might need to do. And I just want you to understand that healing is such a personal journey. Every single guest that I interview has a different story. They have a different path to the point of breaking, and then they have a different path of rediscovering who they are and putting themselves back together. The only sort of key fundamental truths that I've found as I've gone through this journey, and I have been working with women, starting their own businesses, all the way back since 2019. I've had this conversation with so many people about like becoming, like coming back to themselves, figuring out who they are, dealing with the traumas and the things that are keeping them small. And it's so important to understand that there are key fundamentals to healing, but those fundamentals aren't about how we heal. They aren't about, you have to do journaling, or you have to go and see a counselor, or you have to go and do this. Like, none of that is true. The fundamentals that really people have to understand is that when something happens, when trauma happens, whether it is grief, depression, some kind of trauma, PTSD, whatever it is, there's a fundamental shift in who you are as a person. And when you go on a healing journey, there is a fundamental shift again in who you are and who you be in the world. You have this unique opportunity to be able to come further back to yourself, to be able to rediscover who you are in the essence. And healing is an active process. So many people would say to me, especially after my first loss of losing my aunt, back in 2017, so many people would say to me, time heals everything. Just give it time. It'll be fine if you just give it time. And I can absolutely tell you that if we jumped forward a couple of years when depression massively took hold, and I'm not going to tell my whole story on this first episode because I am going to be sharing my full story later on in a later episode. But when depression absolutely gripped me and I finally admitted where I was, it was like almost 3 years later. Time hadn't done anything for me. And it was in that moment that I realized that healing is an active process. Like, I have to decide consciously that I don't want to live like this anymore. I have to decide consciously that there is something bigger and something better, and I'm not going to settle and stay in this place. And when you make that active choice, something shifts inside you, and then you can go and figure out how you personally heal. And as we hear from guests, you will hear multiple different ways. Every guest has used different ways, different people to support them, different tools, different skills. They've learned different things. It's so incredible that everyone goes on the same path of discovery, but they all do it in their own unique way. And that is what I really want this podcast to become, is a toolbox of just so many unique ways of dealing with anything that presents itself in the realm of healing. And just making sure that we're telling the truth, that we're opening up and we're saying, actually, I wasn't okay. This is what I needed. And if you're feeling the same, I want you to know that you have found your place. You have found a place where people get it, where we understand, where we're willing to have these conversations. We're willing to step into these places of being uncomfortable. The moment that the trailer went live for this podcast, I messaged my sister and told her that I was having such complex feelings. I felt so excited that this piece of art, this expression of me was coming into the world. This amazing thing that I wanted to do for so long was coming into the world. But at the same time, I felt truly petrified. I felt truly petrified that I was going to be so vulnerable for so many people, and random strangers could find this. I hope that they do, and they could have an opinion on my healing journey. And in episodes where I'm speaking to different guests, I'm sharing small pieces of my healing journey. And I was saying to my sister, it feels really scary, but I also know that I'm so ready for this next level of healing. I'm so ready for this next step of actually saying, this is me unapologetically. This is what I've gone through. This is what I have survived through. And I am so strong. And I would not have been able to say that about myself before I went through this journey. I would not have been able to stand in my power and say, actually, this is who I am. This is what I've gone through. This is the baggage that I've carried. And I'm okay with it. I'm okay with all of the things I felt. I'm okay with all of the thoughts that I've, gone through. I'm okay with all of the dark places that I've existed. But I'm also so excited for the light that's come out the other side of it. And I know that for so many people, healing feels like it's something that'll last forever. Like that weight, that heaviness, that darkness, that trauma, it just feels like it's going to have you stuck and suffocated for so long. But I want to tell you that that doesn't have to be your truth. That doesn't have to be where you stay. You are completely in control of this journey. And if you want to use me and the rest of these guests as inspiration, I really implore you to, because our guests have achieved so many incredible things. And on my own journey, I have achieved so many incredible things. When I think back to the person I was when I was in depression, I was in debt. I was living in a country I didn't want to be living in. I was away from my family and friends, and everything inside me felt broken. Now, as I sit and talk to you and start this journey, we live back home in South Africa, surrounded by our family and friends, constantly involved in the community that just gives me so much life and so much purpose. We are mortgage free, we are debt free, we have the most incredible life that me 5 years ago would never have even thought was physically possible. She would have thought that I was insane to even dream of this life, to even think that this life could be possible for us. But yet, here I sit. Here I am in this moment, knowing that I can bring so much more forward, that I can have so much more in my life. And it is so empowering. And that is the essence of this podcast. So you have the ability to listen to our podcast episodes on any of your favorite platforms. We have a dedicated Instagram where you can pop over and see guests that are coming up, get short clips of the show, and fully immerse. You'll be able to talk to me and the guests. And I literally cannot wait to have you guys form part of this community. I also want to put out the amazing, amazing invitation that if you feel like you have a story to share, if you feel like you want to help other people from your own healing journey, and you feel like you want to tell people how you went through this process, I would love to have you as a guest on the show. So there's going to be over on the Instagram page a form that you can fill in to request to be a guest, and I will get in touch with you and we can have a chat about whether you are perfect for the podcast. So I'm going to leave it there today, and I'm going to invite you to jump into our first 2 episodes with the wonderful Alice and the incredible Holly and listen to their inspirational stories as to how they have navigated so many challenges in their lives, but still come out as strong, incredible women who can share so many stories and so much advice for how you can move forward in your own life. Enjoy your discovery. Thank you for listening to another inspiring episode of The Diary of Discovery. If you found value in today's conversation, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast and share it with your friends, family, or anyone else you think might benefit from the stories of hope and transformation. Your feedback means the absolute world to us, so please take a moment to leave a review on your favorite podcast platform. Your reviews help us to reach even more listeners and continue to bring this meaningful content to the world. Until next time, remember, your healing journey is valid. You are never alone, and you have the strength to get through this. Keep shining bright, and we'll see you in the next episode of The Diary of Discovery.